Out of Bounds, the cast, episode 4. My name is Adam, and as always, I'm joined with Junior. So, Junior, are you ready?
Let's go.
go. Okay, Junior, you want to kick us off here with the beer bracket?
Yeah, so we, since summer is rapidly approaching, we decided to go to our Radler region. So
Makes
today, we have Stiegel. Grapefruit Radler. So this is coming straight to us from Salzburg, Austria. And that is a grapefruit Radler. And that is going up against the 2 seed, the Golden Apple Strongbow.
Love Strongbow.
Crisp and refreshing taste with a hint of golden apple and a smooth, elegant finish. So, as we do, let's start with the low seed first.
Now, Stiegel on its own, in terms of a beer, is actually a pretty nice beer as well.
I do enjoy that. And it does have a fruity finish, Stiegel, as well. Stiegel.
Yeah, great. You said that's a grapefruit flavor?
Yeah, this is the grapefruit flavor.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I'm still on the disabled list, everybody, so please bear with me. I hope to be back very soon. Interesting color.
Yeah.
It's pretty light. Oh, that was great, though.
It's got a very pamplemousse. Not a big fan of grapefruit, but
all right, dude,
this is for you guys.
Taking one for the team. Initial thoughts?
I was expecting more grapefruit.
Okay, kind of fades.
It does, but it kind of kicks back in at the end.
Okay.
It's actually it's not bad. You know, so for something super light.
I love ciders and radlers and that kind of stuff for summer because it's nice and cool and it's kind of crispy, you know?
No, for sure.
On a hot day.
Just trying to find. Oh, okay. So it's 2.5% alcohol.
So it's kind of low.
Yeah, it's quite low.
That's very low, actually.
I'm looking for the kick. Very much kick. But
okay.
It's. You know what? I being the degenerate I am, I would probably dump something else in here.
Yeah,
like some rum or
top it up a little bit, eh?
Yeah, like it maybe some proper 12. You maybe dump that in here and might kick it up and take it to La La Land, but not bad.
Well, they do have these. I think is it called a snake bite, Junior, where you put a little bit of beer with a little bit of cider?
Yeah,
those are all right. Okay, so let you enjoy that while we jump into Mayweather Logan Paul. Finally, the weekend is upon us here.
Is that already happening?
June 6th, Miami. Looking, I imagine, considering Florida is wide open, that it's going to be a very, very packed. I think it's outside. I
think it is. Yeah,
it's an arena, football arena, probably. What are your thoughts on this fight? I know we've talked about the Pauls a few times on this cast, but
listen, and you know, I'll say the same thing about Logan Paul. Good on you, boy. You're trying to get back into the limelight. You know, fix your tarnished image and all that. I think the person who has the most to lose here is Floyd. I mean, if this fight is a bore and it's just a pile of donkey crap, Floyd's gonna look horrid. I mean, he already does because he took the fight because someone was jabbing at him. You keep seeing these guys get sucked in by the Paul brothers. And you have to remember, the Paul brothers have nothing to lose because everyone expects them to lose. They're not expecting them to win. But when they come out and they win, people they get sucked in even harder. This isn't something I'm going to purchase. I'm not going to, Floyd's past his prime. He should have stayed at the strip club, maybe bought another $16 million watch, but I don't think he can. I think that's why he's taking this fight.
Exactly.
Big Daddy running out of money. So, I mean, he's got the most to lose here. I think his image is already a little bit tarnished, but, unless he's going to open up that record and fight, and have this actually count, I don't think anyone's going to be interested in watching Floyd until he puts the record on the line. So
I heard him say something. I don't know if it was on Barstool. I think he was in an interview, and they're like, "How much money are you making a day?" And I guess he alluded that with his investments and etc., that he's probably making upwards of $1 million a day. I find that extremely hard to believe for a guy like Floyd who spends money fast as he can make money.
This guy's the Wolf of Wall Street, eh?
Right?
I don't think so.
So yeah, I'm not sure why he took this fight. I mean, besides the money, there's really no value here.
It's not even that much money. He's not going to walk away with a couple $100 million on this fight.
He's going to have a whole bunch of money on himself, I imagine, through the gambling and whatnot, right? There's no way that he's going to knock out Logan Paul. I just don't see that happening.
No.
He's not a knockout kind of fighter. He's very defensive anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to pay for this fight. I'll stream it on YouTube or wherever I can find it right after, because I know there'll be some botched job on it, but I'm sure it won't be very exciting also.
No.
Anyways, just on the heels of that, though, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley are going to be fighting apparently. So I don't think that deal is inked, but it looks like it is official to some degree. What do you think about that matchup? I mean, Woodley's not Ben Askren. I mean, he is a lot older, and Jake's going to have the advantage in terms of age. He's also not a boxer, right? But I mean, we've seen Woodley in the ring before or in the octagon, and
he can throw hands.
Yeah, he can be productive.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be a height advantage or reach advantage, and we all know how killer that can be in the game of boxing. Again, Jake Paul, he signed a 2-fight deal with Showtime, so I mean he's getting a little more up there in terms of clout. A little more official. Yeah. A little more proper, but you're still not fighting a fighter.
I saw him just recently. I saw him today on Instagram, and what he was saying, he's like, you got this era about you. You start feeling invincible. Still yet to fight a boxer. I mean, I don't know what's this guy like. What's he drinking in his Kool-Aid? But this is just absolutely insanity.
He fought a YouTuber and a guy who was over the hill.
Oh, sorry. You know what it was? It was on Tyson's podcast. I just remember.
Oh, okay.
So check that out if you want to have a laugh or two.
Did you ever watch the Mike Tyson Mysteries?
No.
That is worth a watch. That stuff is absolutely hilarious.
Okay,
I cannot get enough of that.
I'm a big fan of Tyson.
Love Tyson.
Big Tyson fan.
Huge.
Okay, let's move over to Champions League. I think we both had Manchester City in our Champions League preview.
Yep, we did.
Although there was a part of me that kind of thought Chelsea was going to be able to do it. You had to go with what you were given, and that was Man City. It was theirs to lose, and they did just that. So what did you think about that game, and what were kind of the pain points for you in terms of Man City not being able to overcome and win their first championship?
Well, the funny thing is I had Man City, but I actually laid money.
I know you did
on Chelsea. The odds were just too good. I mean, I got over, like, it was a 4-10 that I got them at. So
yeah,
I had to. There was too much juice for me not to take that. And one of the keys of the game that I had said was, is Pep going to play himself? And Pep did. He kind of walked right into the trap, and It was a pretty nice game. I mean, there wasn't a lot of fireworks or a lot of offense, but it was a good soccer game. So I mean, there's not really much I could say else other than that. I think Pep cost them that, but to see Aguero already posting up in his new spot, yeah, it was very quick. We said it was going to be quick too. It ended up being a couple of days after. Like, this dude took like a major L 2 days ago, saying he guaranteed that he's not going to leave until he gets City that champions. And he didn't get City the champions, and then he said, "I'm out. I'm going home." So
so he landed in Barcelona, which we kind of had already thought that was going to be the case. So that's good for him. Wish him a good career over there, but unfortunate for Man City. Chelsea did a great job, and I'm not a big fan of this style of play, but basically parking the bus after the first goal and just riding that all the way. But you know what? You got to respect that too, because that's not an easy thing. No, kind of sit back all game long and kind of wait and just kind of play on the defensive end. But
results speak for themselves, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're the one who got to take the cup home. So congrats to Chelsea, and we look to see more soccer. And that segues us perfectly into Euro 2020, which is really being played in 2021.
It's finally here.
It's only a year late, right, Junior? But we'll have in-depth review by group, I believe. And then we'll probably have another show just before it actually kicks off. But some initial thoughts around Euro 2020 groupings, any kind of initial points there?
What I will say is, well, obviously we'll get into this a bit more in depth as we start getting through our preview show. But the one thing that I will say is I think the system that gets these teams into these groups is a little bit broken. When you've got four lost teams, 5 lost teams that are heading in here, it kind of speaks volumes as, not all the quality is there. And that kind of makes up for the first round in the group stage, kind of a little bit boring when you're seeing Italy pump Turkey like 6-0. But it's come to be expected.
We've seen these groups too before, where there's just countless groups where it's over talented, it's not compensated properly across the.
Now the group with death is interesting because you've got 3 really quality teams there. So when you're looking at Germany and There's a lot of good betting options here for taking your.
Oh yeah, we'll
obviously get into that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, there's nothing better than for me, international football, soccer. Love to see these guys kind of come together for their national team and see what that pride's like. Likely going to see a lot of players that are probably on maybe their last leg with their national team. So this could be a swan song for a couple of guys for sure.
For sure.
Okay, so the Oilers got beat so bad that they lost Gretzky.
They chased the great one, Mr. Steal Your Man over here.
The great one with this
Steal
lovely,
Your Girl.
Yeah, he's got that Farrah Fawcett hair almost.
Yeah. This is an interesting move. TNT got very aggressive with the NHL. They signed a 7-year deal that was worth about $225 million a year.
That's huge for them.
So the total deal is probably $300 to $400 million more than they were getting from NBC and ESPN. I think they're paying 100 or a little bit under 100 million each. So it's a multi-year deal. He's going to join Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk. They're going to do regular season games in the playoffs. I think this is going to add a huge wrinkle into a lot of guys when they know that Gretz is going to be calling their game, because when Gretz rips somebody, they're going to feel it. This isn't Jordan ripping people. This is the great one. Like, this is one of the living hockey gods. And if he actually comes out with a bit of a chip on his shoulder and starts ripping dudes, which I hope he does, it's going to make for some interesting booth action between Eddie and him. Eddie, obviously,
I can't believe he's even doing. I can't believe he's even doing this. To be honest, it seems kind of out of character for me to see.
It does.
Gretzky as a studio analyst, like, it's going to take some getting used to for me. I haven't digested it. I haven't digested it yet.
This is the DJ factor. With Dustin and the way he is, I think he may have ripped Gretz enough to get him into this. Either way, great deal for Gretz. I mean, it's not like he needs to be in the spotlight, because everywhere he goes, he's always in the spotlight. But I'll be very interested to tune in just to hear him. And I mean, this will be the first year of TNT's deal. So to have the great one as a commentator and an analyst, huge move. Like, they're all in on the NHL right now. Yeah. But we'll see what kind of buttons it pushes and moves for the NHL.
It looks like his salary is around $3 million, so that's a nice little piece of change. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I was going to say, where does this leave the Oilers organization?
I don't think it does anything. He wasn't really doing
at all.
He wasn't really doing much there. I think he's more of a figurehead.
Like legacy.
Yeah, that kind of like, guys coming back to say hello, but stuck around and never left. The issue with the Oilers is so deep rooted. I don't know if he was there to try and clean it up, but that team's in a lot of trouble, moving forward, because there's so many holes, and they got exposed by the Jets. But I think there were some officiating issues in that series, because you were talking about the two power play teams in the league, and they had like almost no power plays. But anyway, I think Edmonton's in a bit of a trouble, and I think Wayne just saw the writing on the wall, and it's like, I can't fix this, so I can't be tied to it. So he bounced.
Is that TNT deal the biggest deal for hockey for broadcasting in history?
No.
Okay.
That's the Rodgers deal with them was, I think, $1 billion.
Okay, total. Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, interesting to see TNT kind of getting into the hockey world a little bit. They're more known for basketball by far.
Exactly.
So good for them. Okay, what did you think of the Stiegel?
I liked it. Wasn't very grapefruit forward, but it did have it in the back end, so it was kind of a clean finish. But still, I'd have to add something to it at 2.5%. Yeah, you're not like, you could literally you're drinking empty calories, and if you're not going to get a buzz off of it, then. But again, that's not what this is for. You're not trying to get drunk off these things. It's
summer barbecue.
Something to keep you upright while you have a conversation and not all like doing that like I usually do in the backyard. So, I think it was good. Okay,
awesome. And so why don't you tell us about the upcoming one here?
So this is Strongbow Gold. And as I said before, crisp and refreshing taste, hint of a golden apple, and a smooth, elegant finish. So this is a 4.5%.
I'm a big fan of that Strongbow. 2 years ago, so 2019, that was my go-to for the summer. It's very appley. It's got a very appley taste for me.
It's almost like medicinal apple. Or like Flintstone vitamins.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Don't remember too many of those being apple flavored, but I get it.
It's just the smell of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully it tastes a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Strongbow, though. I'm not going to lie.
Have you had this gold before?
Absolutely. I drank that a lot, probably in 2019, I want to say.
All right. Cheers.
There you go.
It's apple.
Okay. For the record, I don't think Ciders / Radlers are your big. They're not. They don't move the dial for you too much, do they?
For me, no.
Okay.
I'm a beer drinker. Doesn't matter how hot or how cold. I'm drinking beer.
Fair enough.
Especially in the backyard.
Yeah.
Can't get over this smell. I mean, it's not bad. It basically tastes like carbonated apple juice to me.
Yeah.
So that could be dangerous because if you catch if you catch a little buzz off this, and because they go down so easy, it's like drinking apple juice. You could get real drunk off those. I can remember when they came out with Mike's Hard Cranberry, how it just tasted like carbonated cranberry juice. You pound back 6 or 7 of those, and you're like lights out.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, Virgil Bloa. Off-White.
So, Blow, he came out, so obviously the creator of the Off-White, and as you can see, the Prestos here is probably my favorite of all of the Off-Whites. He's coming out with a 50-pair collection called Dear Summer, and it's basically only including the Dunk Low, which I think is one of those shoes that just gets the most collabs. I think it's more due to its versatility, but you could see the Ben and Jerry's that came out. A lot of designers jump on this shoe too, just because it's more like that underground. Because I think the skate guys like to use the SB dunks. So it's going to be interesting to see how well this collection gets received, because I do believe cancel culture canceled him last year for not donating enough to the BLM. I don't know if he's got enough luster to kind of shake that off, and if there's going to be that much of a pump on these shoes. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you dig his stuff? I think we're having some technical difficulties. Is it on my end? Okay. Yeah. Oh, now her shoe's covering my face. Ooh, look at the shoe. Ugh. I don't even know what to do now. Is he coming back in? I don't know. Well, let's kind of finish up on him. I don't know if I'm going to be lining up and trying to get a punch at these, but I'm sure some people will. I don't know what was next because our deck is gone. Talk about. Oh, here we go.
There we go. You're back.
Okay.
We're back. I don't know if you noticed, but we dropped off there for a moment. It looks like we're still live.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrapped up Virgil.
Virgil? Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to move along from Virgil then. Let's go to Aaron Rodgers again doing stuff.
No, fans.
Fans.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Fans. To all the fans out there. Understand that these men are people. These women are people. These athletes are people. What do you want to say about the fans, Junior?
Go back into lockdown. I think you need more time by yourself in your house because people have forgotten how to act in public. People are a lot meaner. They're way more surly. They're not happy. You've been locked down for God knows how long, and now you get to go back into the real world, and you got to throw bottles, you got to spit, you got to throw racial slurs, you got to, the dude that ran on the court. How many times has that ever even happened in basketball's history where a dude runs on the court for no reason? Now, I did want to say the whole thing with Kyrie, that incident that happened in Boston.
So Kyrie, at the end of the game, after both benches have basically cleared at this point, the fans are exiting the building. He walked into the center courts where they were in Boston. He played in Boston for one season.
Yeah, and said, I'm staying here.
Said, I'm staying here, didn't stay. And what he did was basically kind of stomp/skid right on the left eye of Lucky, the mascot. And then as he proceeded to the tunnel, an empty water bottle was thrown by a fan in his direction.
So, the racial slurs, inexcusable. The spitting, inexcusable. The guy running on the court, inexcusable. All the fight fists breaking out at baseball games, inexcusable. But Kyrie, sorry, you played yourself. You know Boston. You know those people there. You know how they are. You know that it's a powder keg and all you need to do is light a match. So you decided that it was a good idea to walk up to Lucky and stomp on him. And you didn't think anyone was going to do anything about that? Listen, when people are dumb and they do stupid things, I'm not going to, defend them. But you caused that. You didn't have to do that. You could have shook the guy's hand and walked away and left it at that. And you probably wouldn't have had the bottle thrown at you. Again, it's still not excusable he threw a bottle, but you didn't have to do what you did, bro. So stick to ball and stop being all stupid.
So this is a long history with Kyrie. I mean, he's probably the least likable player or one of the least likable players in the NBA just from him being himself. And that's fine. I'm not going to hate on Kyrie for him being himself. He's entitled to do what he wants and be his own man, and et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is that people don't like him. They don't like his antics. They don't like what he has to say. They don't care for a lot of the stuff that, he does on and off the court.
Didn't this guy say the earth was flat?
He is a flat earther. Now in Boston Celtics, from their organization, Kevin Garnett had stepped up. He really embraced Boston when he got there, as well as Big Baby Davis came out and basically said, that was the cowardly thing to do when there were no other players from the Celtics around to defend, I guess, their home court and Lucky, who I never knew how to name before until today. So reading that in the news is just kind of, interesting, but, I agree in some way. Definitely throwing anything onto the court is inexcusable. That should never be the case. These are human beings. There's no reason that, what happens if he trips and falls on that or slides on it or whatever, and he snaps his ankle and he's out for the series? That's not fair to anybody. It's not right. He's a human being. He doesn't deserve that. Races should never be involved in any of this stuff. It's absolutely horrible, and it doesn't belong in any sport or anywhere in any society across the world. Now, what I would have liked to have seen if Kyrie was going to do something like that is they did it in front of the other Celtics players where they could have defended.
Exactly.
Those are the people that need to take this. If there's a concern, they need to take that concern to Kyrie and not in the fan base.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on that?
Yeah, people, please just if you're going to do that, just stay at home, watch the game at home. Don't go out and yeah. I mean, this poor kid from one stupid act is getting prosecuted now, and I'm sure he's going to feel like crap after sentencing. And you just
banned, lifetime ban.
Lifetime ban. Like, guys, this is the team that you love.
Do you think?
I think it's a little bit excessive, but that's just me. I'm a fan. I heckle all the time, but I keep it clean and I don't throw stuff at people. So just say something to them. Don't throw stuff at them. I mean, they're men. They can take it. If you want to rip on them, rip on them. But just leave the objects on the ground and don't spit. And don't make it about anything other than them. Don't make it about race or, rip on their shoes or rip on the way they wear their hat or rip on their pregame outfit. Like, just stay away from that stuff.
Had that bottle not been thrown, do you think anybody would have even noticed that Kyrie went to center court and stepped on Lucky's face?
It would have popped up at some point, and there probably would have been a bigger outcry. So sometimes those things are better just to get dealt with right away.
They do have another game to play, or is that series over?
I don't think if they win, they're actually playing tonight. If Brooklyn wins, it's done. So,
but they're not playing in Boston anyways, right?
No.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right, let's move along to Aaron Rodgers, who is kind of always has some sort of storyline going on. Most recently, he doesn't want to be in Green Bay, and he potentially will retire if basically he doesn't play for another team. He looked pretty. I'm not going to lie. He actually was half decent on Jeopardy. It's one of my favorite shows.
He was. He
actually wasn't bad, and
no.
That could be an easy transition for him as they continue to guest host before they, kind of make their final decision on who will replace the great Canadian Alex Trebek.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, let me remind you of a situation. NFL Draft, 2005. The Packers coming off a 4-12 season. And there was a quarterback there. Who was he? What was his name? Brett Lorenzo Favre.
Look at that stash, eh?
He was the quarterback of that team for 13 years when you were drafted. Do you remember the controversy that was there and how upset Brett got that they drafted a quarterback when he was in his own mind, in his prime? And how disrespectful it was to him to have you drafted. So here we are 16 years later, and what did they do to you last year? Oh, that's right. They drafted Jordan Love. And what was he? All right, a quarterback. and you're upset. So do yourself a favor. Don't go down the line that Brett did, where he got his ass handed out of Green Bay as quick as it got there. You have front office issues. Does everyone like their boss? Not everybody. But you have a contract, and when you sign a contract, just play out your contract. Don't stop playing these games where you're not showing up for your OTAs and you're pulling other players with you. Just go out with some class. Just go up to the front office and say, "Hey, I don't like you. I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to be here. Just trade me, please." No, you've got to go on vacation and bring Miles Teller with you and take these cryptic pictures, and I don't know. Aaron, grow up.
Do you still think that Aaron Rodgers is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Regular season, could be. Playoffs, No.
Okay, just while we're on this topic, I wanted to bring up, and you know what, looking back in hindsight, we probably should have had this as a static topic. We've been talking about players and so on. Um, Tennis champion Naomi Osaka had been fined $15,000 after she announced that she would not do the media interviews during the French Open, and then basically bowed out of the tournament. What did you think about that move as a fan of any sports, and then from the athlete's perspective?
Well, my issue with that is that she didn't show up because of, she said it was for mental health issues or mental health reasons. That's not a topic you take lightly and then find someone for.
I agree.
Now, did she go through the proper channels to inform them that something was going on and that she didn't want to do that? Or they told her, well, that's your obligation. You're here. You have to do these things. So, it's one of those stories where there's probably a lot of moving parts going on and we don't know the whole story other than what's been leaked. And in the tennis world, those federations tend not to talk too much about things that go on internally.
Quiet. Yeah, they're very quiet.
They kind of keep that stuff. Yeah, they keep that stuff kind of confidential. So her coming out and pulling out through a disagreement, I mean, if she felt slighted and that was it, then then probably the best thing for you to do was walk away from the tournament. But if you had legitimate reasons that were legitimate mental health issues and you informed them and they still forced you and then fined you, then I think that's an issue.
So let me ask you this question. Being an athlete and being a human being, working for an organization that is part of an association, mm-hmm. should media be required for these athletes? Is this a requirement? Is this something that should be part of their job?
I think yes and no. I think it should be not required, but welcomed. The one thing that I think we as fans and people, not there, make the mistake of is putting them on a pedestal, putting them above us, trying to, imitate them and look up to them and be like them and obsessing over them. They're just people. These people grew up just like everyone else did. Some were just a little more gifted athletically. I grew up with people who, went on to play professionally. But
yep,
it's and that's the thing. When you're in the sport expects you to push their brand, to push their agenda, to push their motives. And you're not a person. You're an athlete that's owned by them. And that's the thing with professional sports these days, is it's run like a business. And that's how business is. If you're hot, then you're at the top and everything's being invested in you and you're the number one and blah, 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 blah. And when you're not, they don't care about you. Do they care about Nick Kyrgios if he shows up? Are they saying to him, you need media availability? No, because no one in the media cares about him. They care about her because she's vocal. She's in the media. She's on social media. She's always talking, and she's always, politically. And so the thing is if you put yourself in that position where everyone wants to talk to you, then I think you have an obligation for your own personal brand to do the talk.
This is what I would say to it. Like, say I'm the owner of a sports franchise and I have a player that doesn't want to do media. They're not comfortable. They're not an outspoken person. You have OG on the Raptors, who's pretty short and sweet with it. Yeah. There's a lot of players in the NBA that don't like to do media. I think Cam Newton walked away from media after a loss, or whatever the case is. If I'm the owner of that franchise and my star player doesn't want to do media, let me tell you, I'm more interested in their performance off the court or on the court rather than him not doing or her not doing, wanting to do media. That's not important to me at all. Now, maybe if there was some incentive to do media, every time you do media or you're asked to do media and you accept, maybe there's some incentive there as a player. These people are human beings. You had a tough day at work. I don't want people bothering me about that. or asking me questions and picking apart every little detail. I get that these people are in the sports world and we're about to rip a whole bunch of people soon in the sports world. But I mean, at the end of the day, like if these guys don't want to do media, I really don't have a problem with it. And of course, I want to hear from them because, you do look up to them and you want to hear what they had to say and you want to take some of their perspective because us as fans, we're watching, in 2D behind the screen.
Yeah. You also have to remember with tennis, she does have obligations to her sponsors. So she's her own brand. She's her own brand. And if her sponsors require her to do media, then it's a part of her contract because they're the ones that are paying her ride. They're paying everything for her, all of her equipment and all that stuff. But if her sponsors don't require her to do media, then the federation should not be requiring her to do media because it's not a part of her contract or her obligation to do so. But,
and it's not like she's plugging those sponsorships during a presser or something like that, right?
So I don't see
that. Yeah, wearing the clothes, you're not expecting to sign, Kyrie Irving or whoever to Nike, and then all of a sudden he's wearing Puma the next day, right? That's not going to work. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't think they should be forced to do a lot of this stuff. It's going to get to the point, I think, where media is going to have to be optional, and you may see sponsorships come in the form of post media. Yeah,
but you also have to look at the NFL, right? So media availability day before the Super Bowl, you are required as an NFL player, and it's the Players Association as well as the NFL that requires these guys to show up. And Marshawn Lynch a few years ago fought back on that and just said,
"Not interested."
All right, not interested. I ain't saying nothing. Not interested. So he tried to fight back on that, but unfortunately, it's a part of the obligation. You got to talk to people, and when you're in a game and you're running your own personal brand, you should talk to people, and especially for her because she's very involved in the movements that are going on. Take your opportunity to plug something, to get your voice out there. But again, if it's mental health issues, it's a different story, and there's really nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, well, I applaud her for her courage to kind of say something about it. So. Okay, Bitcoin, up, down, left, right.
Wow.
Crypto, my goodness. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what these things are going to do and when and where the limit is and if this is actually going to really be anything long term.
That's the concern, right? So I think the recent one that happened a couple weeks ago, the big dip, where it dropped from 57,000 to like 37,000, which is a huge drop. That's $20,000 in valuation, was because China decided to restrict the currency use. And now it's sitting at about 36,185. And Musk has suspended the purchase of vehicles using Bitcoin as he cited concerns over the environmental impacts of the mining process.
Farming, computers, thousands of computers finding and decrypting these things.
So when you've got a farm going, the amount of electricity that you're using is exponential. Some guys have figured out how to be geniuses and kind of harness other technology to renewable energy in terms of powering their farms. But I get it, and this is something that isn't, again, it's not tangible. Like when you buy stocks, you get
shareholder package, certificate of whatever. Shareholders.
Exactly. Yep. They send you notices for your shareholder meeting, and when you buy stamps to collect, you get your stamps, and cards, you get your cards, and a digital currency, on the other hand, I think some people have started to realize that maybe it doesn't have the legs that the world's really looking for. Now, it's great. It's up a crap ton of money, but you can't touch it. A regular investor cannot touch Bitcoin. And when it gets into those realms, it has nowhere to go but down because there's a finite supply and finite money to put into that. So, when you're looking at, okay, I need to spend $37,000 to buy one Bitcoin, I would rather dump that into a stock that is actually doing something to help the world. whether it's
There's a purpose. There's a product.
Environmental technology or medical technology or further advancing something than a coin, a digital coin that sits in a digital wallet. And the amount of people out there who have 200 million, 100 million, 50 million, 10 million in Bitcoin sitting in their digital wallet, but they forget their password and that money's just sitting there.
A few of those situations happened.
So, I mean, at that point, there's no checks and balances. So if I had a $200 million sitting in my laptop and I forget my password, and now there's no way for me to get that money.
Or you throw your laptop out, which was something that happened where a hard drive got lost or accidentally thrown out, had $240 million, I think. I think it was $1 million in Bitcoin.
So
it's in a landfill in the UK somewhere.
For stuff like that, I mean, I get it. You know, you lose your wallet, but I don't lose my identity. And
so what about this,
get
Junior?
A new bank card.
We both do a little bit of the Top Shots. Is the Top Shot not a digital currency? It has value and can be traded, but you can't hold it.
It does, and yes, you can trade it, and you can sell it, and you can do all of these things with it. But yeah, you don't own the licensing of that moment. So yeah, it is. It's crypto collecting, and you know, I don't think it's nearly on the verge of what Bitcoin is, but
nowhere.
You know, you got these what is it? Safe Moon and Dogecoin and whatever. There's hundreds of them. And when you start, you know, flooding the market with stuff and you see some of these other ones that they're like worth a fraction of a penny and they're not going anywhere. And then you've got like Bitcoin and Ethereum that are the ones that are kind of pushing the movement. Sooner or later, the bubble's going to burst. And, you know, I think when it comes down to it, cash is always king. Cash on hand. The ability to liquidate your assets. That's where the true power is. So. We'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. It could fall a hell of a lot further, and a lot of people are going to be, you know.
We got Double X here in the comments with Top Shots are a joke, and then basically that it's a marketing masterclass. And you know what? I couldn't disagree. Their marketing behind Top Shot is unbelievable. They created a supply limited enough where it created a demand, and now they're able to just squeeze people for every little bit of money and give them these common moments that they don't really care about.
I'm kind of off them now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm kind of on that trend a little bit too. Just looking to land. I was looking to land one of those big fish that I could flip for a nice amount of money, but yeah. Okay, let's move on to Junior's rant.
Yeah, so this is a 2-stage process.
All right, I got a few things to say. Jump in here and there as well.
No, you'll have ample.
I've had some moments today.
So, Leafs land, Maple Leafs fans. Harold Ballard's curse is alive and well. It's now been 18 years since you've won a playoff series. You finished top in your division, one of the top power plays, one of the top offenses. Where did it all go wrong? Well, I've pinpointed it to a few moments. Moment number one was John Tavares going down with that gruesome injury. Now, I've seen photos where it really looks like Corey Perry knew exactly what was going on. But let's rewind that a bit. That hit during the regular season, that guy would be suspended in a heartbeat. So then I asked myself, well, where's player safety on that? Now, Montreal, they played very physical, dirty physical, but they got away with it. They weren't getting called, so why would they stop doing what they were doing? So the Leafs brought in Ben Simmons to get his grit, and that was continuously neutralized by cross-checks to the face. Where's player safety on that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Slashing, obstruction, the things that they've tried to weed out to this game so that the game can get fast, it all comes back during the playoffs. The officiating was so horrible that almost every intermission team on every broadcasting network was making mention of how bad the officiating was and highlighting it, showing a holding call that doesn't get called and then a holding call that does get called. Now, yeah, Matthews did not have a good series. 1 goal, 4 assists.
Can you remind me who had the most goals in the NHL this season?
That was Austin Matthews.
Oh, really? Where was he this series?
A goal and 4 assists, averaging about 24 minutes of ice time. Then you look at Marner. He had 3 assists, averaging almost 25 minutes of ice time. So who were the best players for the Leafs this series? William Nylander, who everyone was upset a few years ago that he got the money he did, and Jason Spezza. And
no one would have thought that would be the name that you'd be.
You would not have pulled those 2 names out of a hat and believed anyone if you told them that they would be the best players. Now, I'll argue and I'll put Jack Campbell in there because, outside of a few gaffes and a few bad goals, he played very well. So we move on to Wayne Simmons, the grit of this team. 12 minutes of ice time. Then we look at Foligno. Foligno, a guy that gave up a first-round pick for. More grit, more experience in the playoffs. 12 minutes of ice time.
Unacceptable against a Habs team who is hitting very well.
So my next question is, where in the world was Frederik Andersen? One of the highest paid goalies in the league, sitting on the bench and allowing the backup to the backup from LA handle the team.
You think that was a coach? You think that was a coaching situation? Coaching error? Trying to ride the goalie who's been playing okay.
So now let's talk about coaching, because I think this was the number one reason as to why the Leafs are no longer playing right now. Well, there's 2 reasons. No, let's say 3. The third reason was Carey Price, because he played absolutely outstanding. Phenomenal, in fact. Untouchable. And when that guy gets going, it's very hard to get one by him. And he only needs one on most nights.
He's got the experience. He's played for Team Canada. We know what he's capable of. And we've said it before on our preview shows and throughout the NHL season that if a goalie wants to stop a series from moving forward or stop a team from moving forward, they have the ability to do that. And Carey Price is definitely one of those goalies.
So let's get back to coaching. When things aren't going well, what does a coach usually do? Tries to fire his guys up. Gets one of those, get one for the Gipper type of speeches during the intermissions. No, you juggle your lines.
Yep.
And you don't even have to pay me the money you're giving Keith. I'm going to give you some free advice here. Marner should have been extracted from the vicinity of Austin Matthews so that Matthews could get going, because Marner was holding that lineup.
That extra deke, that extra...
Stonehands Hyman should not be on a line with the number 1 goal scorer in the league. This guy, there was nights where he was putting in 27, 28 minutes of time on ice. I don't know what was going on with that. Now, you didn't juggle lines, Keith. You didn't change things up. Okay, maybe for a game, but when you're up 3-1, Montreal wins that game, so now it's 3-2. You get a little worried, a little concerned because your big guys aren't scoring. Okay, Game 6, you lose again. Okay, Marner and Matthews, they're not doing much. Maybe I got to do something about this. No, you ride it again. And what you do by doing that is you make every Leafs fan, we do the same thing every year and we expect a different result, but you provide us the same result. I think that's actually a definition of crazy.
It doesn't even matter who's on the team, and we have a note here. What about this? The pressure to perform is immense in Toronto. You know what? It's true. We do expect that to be the case. We do expect our fans are ruthless.
We are.
But listen, and we've talked about this to death, but it doesn't matter who is on this team. It really does not matter who is on this team. For the past 15 years, this team is exactly the same. They stink. They stink in the playoffs. I don't care what they do in the regular season because, like you mentioned, they haven't won a first-round playoff series in, 18 years, you said?
18.
This is absolutely ridiculous. This team does not know how to bring the puck across the blue line. Every single time I watch a Leaf game, they just dump the puck. From sports that I've ever played in my life, you want to control the possession.
Yeah.
Football, soccer, basketball. You want the ball, you want the puck, you want whatever it is in your hands or on your stick. So why do you dump the puck so much? You literally give it up to the team almost every time. These players cannot pass. We're paying these guys an exuberant amount of money, and they're not delivering.
Well,
Mitch Marner, I'm so upset with you. I'm not even going to get into it. How upset and how many opportunities you missed. I saw how hurt you were in your presser. The guy was basically crying his eyes out.
Almost.
You did not perform. Stop with the extra deke. Stop with the extra puck handling. If you watched Montreal, a lot of their shots on net, they didn't care where they're coming from. They're going the opposite direction of the net, and they're turning around and throwing it on net. You never know who's going to be there. You never know who's going to pick that rebound up.
So I'll get into number 2, and that's officiating. The fact that in this series there were 4 different ref lineups and absolutely no consistency. So the main concern that you have to have is when you have 3 referees who are not on the same page, things are not going to get called properly. And the NHL has to fix this, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You know, they do it in NBA. Every series gets assigned a crew, and that crew runs that series. Yep. They don't change it. This is changed game by game. My next issue is that NHL player safety process, absolutely broken. Absolutely broken. You know, this process is not arbitrary. It should be definitive, yet it's run arbitrarily. You know, when you look at the Leafs series, there are 53 calls that were made. There were 8 delay of game penalties, 8 roughing penalties, 4 slashing calls, 5 cross-checking calls, 4 holding calls, 2 hooking calls, and there was 1 goaltender interference call. Let's talk about what was missed. There were about 14 high hits where a shoulder came in contact with face or head.
Yeah.
0 were called. There were 8 holding calls that were missed. There were 26 cross-checking calls that were missed. 6 two-handed slashing calls that were missed. And there was a goalie interference call that was missed. So when you look at that, when there's 53 calls that were made, you've missed probably about 30 of them. Yeah. Now, I understand you want your game to be quick, but you're putting these people, these players, at a disadvantage and in a position to get hurt, just like you saw Tavares. An unnecessary knee-to-knee hit, and then another guy just not paying attention to what's going on around him.
Away from the puck as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so depressing talking about them.
It is what it is. Next year is next year. I think I'll probably have less expectations because, number one, you're not trading Mitch Marner, even for 10 cents on the dollar. No one wants him. You're not going to be able to move anybody. So, you know, unless they
There's a few contracts coming up, too, which I don't think they're going to be able to retain, maybe.
No, and that kind of drops me into the next piece of my rant, and that is the NHL as a whole. So what if I told you that there were 4 NFL teams that were more valuable than the NHL was of the league? How would that make you feel?
The entire league?
The entire league.
I would be surprised.
There are 4 teams from the NFL that are more valuable than the NHL itself.
This is like the Dallas Cowboys, you know, the top elite teams in the NFL.
So how about this? The least valuable NFL team is valued at $2 billion, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. The most valuable NHL team is the New York Rangers at $1.65 billion.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions, the most cursed team in sports history, $2.1 billion, worth more than any NHL team. In fact, the least valuable NBA franchise are the Memphis Grizzlies, who are valued at $1.3 billion.
That's an undervalued franchise. Memphis, we see you. We like you.
We love you, Memphis. And they're more valuable than 90% of the NHL. Major League Baseball, the least valuable team, the Miami Marlins are worth $990 million, more valuable than 28 NHL teams. The NHL is a league for the frugal, cheap billionaire. The salary cap is what is killing hockey. Your processes internally are broken. You will never be anything other than the fifth most valuable league in the world unless you change these things. Gary Bettman has been focusing on not the league, but his lineage, his story.
That's always been the case. This guy's got a massive ego.
Massive ego. And when it comes down to it, it's not going to change until Gary's gone. We need new youth, new people to breathe life into this thing. So until that happens, unfortunately, the NHL is just going to be withering and dying in denial. So
Junior, are you suggesting that the cap get raised? So that people can basically build up a super team, or some of these guys are just going to make a whole bunch more money than they're making now?
No, the reason they have the cap in place is because there's teams out there that don't have the money and don't want to spend the money. So you do what you do in baseball. You have a luxury tax. And what you do with that luxury tax money for the teams that spend over that tax is you take that money, you recoup it back, and you distribute to the people who have not reached that tax. That's how you help out these little teams, because they're basically, you look at the Florida Panthers. They post losses year after year, but television contracts that are paid for because of the big teams save these teams from actually losing money. Mm-hmm. Gary's legacy is BS. He's putting teams in places that have no business having hockey teams. Absolutely no business having hockey teams.
What do you think about Seattle and the Kraken?
Do they need a team?
They don't even have a basketball team.
Do they need a team? Are you going to tell me you're going to sell 5 million season tickets there? Because I can tell you Quebec City for damn sure wants a team.
You think that team will last very long?
I'm not going to say that they are.
Look at Vegas. I mean,
I'm not going to say that Quebec City would last a long time, but
I mean, do you think Seattle will last very long?
I think it'll wear off. It'll wear off, and if they don't win and they don't bring players in there, the Sonics left because of arena issues. You're telling me you're not going to run into that with probably pretty much the same city council that was there before? I think that there's a broken wheel, and Gary is just trying to, his focus is on expansion when it shouldn't be. It should be fixing your internal processes, getting everything running smoothly. You have to understand, a lot of Americans in these small markets, they don't understand hockey. You don't just put an NHL team in there and say, here's a game. Come see it. No, you go in there on the grassroots level, you start hockey for the kids, then you build that up.
Build it up, yeah.
You don't just shove an NHL team in there and expect them to go, oh, hey, okay, thanks, we're going to go at it now. There's a reason why the top 5 franchises in the NHL in terms of value are all original 6 teams. You can't expect that in 50 years that Seattle's still going to be around, or Florida will still be there. Or even Winnipeg will still be there. I mean, Arizona is the least valuable NHL franchise, and they've almost been kicked out of the league how many times now? I don't know. Gary's just got to fix that up.
Yeah.
Or get out. Get someone else in there who's new, has vision, and can breathe some life into this game, because he's killing it. Gary Bettman is killing hockey.
Yeah, and, look what Adam Silver did when he came into the NBA, right? He's done a fantastic job. The NBA has never been stronger or had a higher salary cap, and that's due to a lot of great negotiations that are coming on behalf of the NBA and those players and whatnot. Yeah, it's time for some new blood in hockey. I mean, it just doesn't have those wings like some of these other leagues.
Well, I mean, you look at the operating expense of your average NBA team, it's about $100 million. The average operating expense of an NHL team is like $30 to $40 million. So you look at an NHL team, 23, 24 guys, 25 guys. You look at an NBA team, 15? So they've got 15 players. They've got a higher operating expense than an NHL team with 24 players on it does. So
and just compare your greats too amongst the sports, right? What does the top player in the NBA get? $40 million a season. What's the top player in the NHL get? $11 million? 12 million? That's 15-20% of your cap right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. And these
But
guys
when
are putting their body on the line day
Yeah.
in and day out.
But that's why when you look at these top teams, these 5 top teams that are making the most money and keeping this league alive, they should have the ability to basically spend as much as they want to. If they want to create a super team, well, then hey, the rest of the NHL starts spending some money. Let's breathe some life into this league.
Open up the wallet.
But it's frugal billionaires that don't want to. So that's
I guess
problem.
the other thing too is like, spending the money, is that going to make the players that much better?
Not necessarily, but it's
and our players going to get more spread out even maybe because they want to make $20 million. So they're going to go to a team that's garbage just to make $20 million. They don't care about winning a cup. They don't care about the team being good.
I mean, there's guys like that in the NBA though. You're going to have your A's and B's. But I think allowing teams who make the money to keep this league surviving should have the ability to spend whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. All right. Is that the end of the rant there, Junior?
I'm done ranting.
All right. Look.
Strong goal was good.
Okay. Yeah. So the strong goal, is that one going to go through?
Let's see.
It's almost like when you're at the Jumbotron and the cars are racing around. Okay, one last final comment here from Double X. Leafs need to hire Emilio Estevez for the flying V of the Mighty Ducks. Okay, awesome. Look, we want to thank you guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us tonight on the episode 4 of the cast. Junior with his rant. Thank you, Junior, for that rant. You saved me some blood vessels popping because I was already ranted out to myself earlier today.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to thank you guys. Please hit that subscribe button. In order for our channel to grow, the easiest thing that you can do for us is just drop a like. Just hit that like button. That's the easiest way for our channel to grow and continue to push out as much content as we can for you guys. And hopefully, if we're doing something right, we continue to grow our channel and get more subscribers, etc. Get our word out. For everybody here at Offside and Out of Bounds, I'm Adam.
I'm Junior. See you real soon.